Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I have 12 o'clock, so I think it's appropriate to get started. I think Mr. Youngblood is present. Mr. Youngblood, do you have a problem uh, leading, facilitating the hearing?
That's where I'm facilitating the hearing,
Oh,
sir.
you okay? You okay? I'm sorry. Okay, okay, all right. That's great. Um, and do we have anybody present, Mr. Sumner?
Right is there, okay?
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Well, I'll turn it over to you.
we're calling a meeting to order. We're here to uh, discuss tentative budget summary of the funds for July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And we will start off by having a moment of silence, please. Amen. Okay, Ms. Hatcher, do we have Mr. Wright still on hand? Ms. Hatcher, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We have Mr. Wright here to speak.
Okay, Mr. Wright, good morning to everyone, including you, Mr. Wright, and good evening, rather, afternoon. And you know the procedures. We have asked Ms. Hatcher to time your minutes, and you have 5 minutes, sir. And go ahead. Thank you. Hello.
Mr. Wright has a question of whether it should be 10 minutes for a public meeting.
Just 5 minutes. Mr. Wright, you can't hear me. I can't hear you. If you would get to a microphone, I would appreciate it.
I will, and good afternoon to you, Reverend Bush, and to all those who assemble here, the public in general, those on Facebook and other media. Uh, the rule has been 10 minutes, and that's what I'm questioning is.
Okay, Mr. Wright, let me tell you, Mr. Dye, has it been 10 minutes?
Yeah, we have for our meetings, if a person uh, requests to present in advance, I think our policy says they get up to 10 minutes.
Okay, Mr. Wright, you have your 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I have some handouts. Let me get those. And this is about an assessment as college and high school and secondary school and all other forms of academia. I've been in this business 35 years, teaching at various levels. And the first thing we need to do is do an assessment of what did you do, the Dougherty County School District, do with the last $350 million. Now, I looked at your document today, it is $339 million. A couple of weeks ago, you had graduation, 722 students. With a $350 million budget, that makes the marginal cost $30,000. So that's the first assessment. So in most circles, you'll be whipped for that. That rate computes to 6%. So it'll take you 22 years to recover. That means what I'm trying to get the board and others to understand is the answer is not in a charter system, because if the charter system was working, the cost would not be demonstrably as high as they are. I mean, 30,000 students, you had a 12,000 student base, and you only end up with 700 students. You had $350 million. Current budget is $339 million. So that's what we're showing you on these various pages here. What we need to do, let's look at another analysis. The charter system is not working because you suggested when I read through that, the charter system is supposed to make improvements, supposed to be higher graduation rate. Yet, our marginal cost for students, 722 students, $350 million is $30,000. Now, in the private sector, you would be out of business because that's not a realistic return on investment. Now, on the handout that's labeled, the recognition of the 157th commemoration of Juneteenth, this is what we need to be looking at. There are some 8 pages here that tell you the kind of things that need to be done that's going to make a real difference, because obviously the federal government gave you an additional $100 million last year. There is no middle school south of Old Thorpe for the American people in the city of Albany and Dougherty County. Not a single middle school. So that tells us 4C Academy and all these other vehicles you have is not the answer. The purpose of education is for you to improve performance. You improve performance by coming up with a higher output based on what was put in. So if you sold $350 million, you end up with 700 students, then something is wrong. Or we may need another assessment instrument. So let me look at the other hand I have for you. What this one shows is the various and sundry things. That's the one that have the 157th commemoration of Juneteenth. What we're looking at here is this is something that's going to help the American people. Now, you're getting about $70 million of ARPA money. ARPA money comes directly from the United States Department of Treasury because we did some investigation a month ago. It requires there be diversity, equity, and inclusion. On page 13 of the handout I have you, there's this company that's called ACC. They carry $10 million away from this district every year. You have not done anything to contravene or improve the output. On May 5th, about 6 of us went to what you call logistics center. The first thing we noticed, there was no paper or anything to tell us what it was about. When we got there, there was no notification to tell us where it was. When we got inside, nobody had a real idea about what they were supposed to be doing. No handout, no anything. And what they tell us is, we encourage you to come. Encourage us for what? No output, and yet nobody can look on page 13 that shows ACC gets $10 million here every year. No diversity, no equity, no inclusion. Well, look at the next page. It points out some things in the middle that's about conceit code. That's the organization that we're representing. On the next page, these are just some of the things we need to be looking at to commemorate, to enhance the quality of life. Because when you look at it, I looked at your QBE funding. Your QBE funding went down $5 million between last year and this year. You know why it went down? Because this time last year, William was here, and I told you we had lost 14,000 people. So when you lose $5 million of QBE funding, that's telling us that, one, people do not want to be here, and then most of the people who left, well, the white people are already leaving anyway. So $5 million difference in your budget 1 year to the current year. QB funding alone. The same thing when you look at the local digest. You're only bringing in about an additional $250,000. That's from the city, the county, and the Board of Education. What's the problem? The problem, not one of these legal entities knows anything about building capacity, or they choose to bury their head in the sand. They will not listen. When I was here last year, I told Dr. Vinci and all of you that was assembled, if you want to get serious, if you want to know how to get more return for the money that's coming in here, give us a call and we'll come and do workshops and show you how it needs to be done. Some of those things on the next page. One of the things we point out what's needed for economic development. The next thing is you do not have anything that closely resembles a minority or disadvantaged business enterprise office. Yet you go to Savannah, Columbus, and all over the United States, those other entities you go to, they have these vehicles to keep some of the money in the district. Right now, you're taking about 2/3 of money that's in the, when I looked at the capital project, where Mr. Fowler is over, Mr. Fowler and nobody else can point out 3 black businesses got a nickel out of $350 million between last year and this year. I know how they rustled and stole the money from a Framtech for the work we did. No ADR or nothing to show fairness or equal opportunity as found in the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. Well, let's look at the next thing we need. One thing we point out that we need a black-owned bank. The next thing, the DVE office. The next thing, the city, county, board can collect $80 million a year. Not one of you can show where you have anything to include a return on investment to an 85% black or African American population. The money just come here, you take it from us, and then you send it to New York, New Mexico, Chicago, and Oakland. Never even sleep a good night. All right, let's go to the next page. When we look at the chief administrator saying, all of them are supposed to be, like I said, all, not some, all. But yet nobody pretends they understand how to have a return on investment or a DVR. That's crazy. A lot of your top level staff, they live in the other 13 counties that make up Region 10, and then think it's not going to collapse. It's supposed to be an oasis, but yet it's like a desert. Look at the next one, the Main Street Loan Program. We brought that to you last year and told you we need to look at this because it allowed any small business or any business at all, it could be a not-for-profit, to go to any bank in the United States that was under the federal banking system, borrow from $100,000 to $250 million, have 5 years to pay it back, and the federal government, the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, would buy the note from whatever bank, whether it was SunTrust or Bank of America or Regions or any other bank. They would buy the note and give you 5 years to pay it back. If the applicant failed, the most that bank would lose would be 5%. Well, let's go to the next page.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hatcher, is Mr. Wright, has he been speaking for 10 minutes?
Well, you need to add one to that because you keep interrupting me.
Hello?
Let's look at the next page. Racial justice and inequality. We see that all over the country. We have to work on these things. Now look there on the next page where it has the attributes of the Main Street Loan Program. I work with the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank. There are 12 Federal Reserve regions in the United States. The one in Atlanta is the 3rd largest in the country. And I know I brought this program here to every legal entity that was here, the city, the county school board to help. Look at the criteria there. We need an entrepreneur academy so the things that we met when we went to that bogus meeting on May 5th, we wouldn't run to that. So you are encouraged. Encourage is a verb that suggests you're doing something. To encourage me means you want to put some attribute down that will help bully what I'm trying to do. So the Entrepreneur Academy is needed. The next thing we need a black television station. Well, can I buy 5 minutes like you do on these talk shows? All right, you got another win on Tuesday, and supposed to be 3. You want to do it 2? Well, you all not gonna do the rollback, are you? But you're supposed to do 3 on a rollback. And I think when I read the document, it only showed that you're gonna need that about $440,000. All I want all the needs I'm supposed to get on the law. Well, I'll come back to you when it goes to the county, but this could get the millage rate, because I know you're gonna have to do 3. Okay.
That's right. I think you're going to address the board in terms of the rollback. If we do not do a rollback, we'll have the 3 required hearings. If we do the rollback, we won't and in the last 2 years, we've done the rollback. So we will have the required number of hearings. And at this point, we anticipate it being one more.
Okay, Mr. Wright, listen, I hope that you can hear me. We thank you for your input into this year's fiscal year, next year rather, and we thank you for coming. Now, I don't have any questions, so Miss Smother, do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you, Reverend Bush.
How about you, Mr. Youngblood?
No, sir, I've got the report in front of me. I'm gonna look at it some more. I don't have any questions at this time.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dye, do you or Miss Hatcher have any additional questions or anything?
I don't have any questions, Reverend Bush, but I would like to know if Ms. Wright can provide that information to Ms. Hatcher, because I don't see anywhere where our QBE funding was reduced by $5 million from 1 year over the next, unless he's talking about the austerity cut, which was about $7 million, which had nothing to do with population loss or formula earnings. That was a line item cut from the budget because of the anticipated impact of COVID-19 on the economy, which ended up not materializing. So we received that funding back this year. But I don't receive, other than that, there was no $5 million reduction in our QBE, unless I'm missing something, and I don't think I am. But I would like to see where he got those numbers. If he can provide that information to Ms. Hatcher, I would certainly appreciate it.
If you don't mind, Mr. Dye, would you have the person to deliver that to me today, that Mr. Wright handed it out there, please?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Hatcher, do you have anything?
No, sir, I don't have any further questions.
Okay. Then, again, do you have any other people there to speak, Ms. Hatcher?
No one else is here.
Okay. And then, well, we will call this board meeting. We thank you for coming, especially to the board members and the staff, and thank you for your work and your efforts on behalf of our children, and we thank you very much. And our next hearing is when, Ms. Hatcher?
Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Tuesday at 6 p.m. Thank you very much and good day.
Thank you.